Howdy, friend. You mind if me and my crew join you? We won't be long. I'd ask what you do, but I know a Bannerlord when I see one. In the eyes. Full of ambition. Used to fill mine too, till Battalion Falcons took it out. Took my eye, but gave me back my sense, I say. But that was the end of my crossbow days. Now, just a lowly fisherman out of Ostican. The lads and I stopped into Praven to grab some supplies, a quick pint, and then we're on our way. And you must be too, Bannerlord. For though wine and song fill the air, soon war sails will fill the horizon. It has been many years since the king sailed north to crush the sea raiders who plagued the coast. A majestic host of Valandian steel and bolts stormed the sea fortress. Reports of the siege claimed the Northmen fought as though they welcomed death. But in the end, they were destroyed. Fish and trade poured in from the sea, and the lands of Valandia flourished. And with their lands secure, the king and his nobles were free to focus the full might of Valandia east. They became a tide of red that crushed everything in their path. Power, wealth, and ambition soared. We, the people of Valandia, arrogantly celebrated our burgeoning empire. But beware, young Bannerlord. The tides of fate turn quickly. They first arrived as whispers on the wind. Reports from fishermen returning with their catch of a vast fleet of wooden dragons upon the sea. A week later, news arrived. The sea fortress of Kvolvik had been attacked, and the garrison put to the sword. Oh, Bannerlord, how we cried for vengeance. Who dare challenge the might of Valandia? The nobles and troops that had been left behind to defend Valandian lands gathered a grand expedition and sailed to remind these heathens who they had dared attack. But the rumors were true. There were wooden dragons upon the sea. The few survivors who returned spoke of a storm of steel and savages. Some even claimed there to be a Kraken who fought alongside the sea devils. No doubt a gift from their dark gods. And that is why you must leave tonight. The sea will no longer bring us food and trade. Now, the waves carry our destruction. Ride hard and ride fast, Bannerlord, and spread the warning. Beware. Beware, sons and daughters of Calradia. War sails fill the horizon. The Nords have come. Coming all the way from Warband, here they are, the Nords. You see the stone arch, the ice-cold northern water, the long ships, the wooden houses, the port city with the big-ass keep on the top. You can taste the air in this picture, you know? And that's what I'm telling you, Bannerlord's about, immersion. And that's what a Nord playthrough is about. It's about getting the boys together and going Viking, and it's just what you need. You've been working hard, fella. Time to relax, have some fun. The Nords gotcha. Bonus number 1 should say plus 30% loot from the sea. I don't know what all this is about, but that's what it should say. Now, what does the art and bonuses tell you? You're in the Navy now, sailor. 20% increased speed in shallow water. Very nice. And since we're going to make sure we're good Nords who honor our fathers and use longboats, we're going to have 2 bonuses to moving in shallow water, which is going to make us terrors of the coast. 30% cohesion loss on land is actually a pretty good hit, but influence usually isn't that hard to come by, and there are perks you can get that help mitigate it. You're going to be running around in a winter wonderland, farming with your boys until you can afford a ship, then you all hop in it, and you're going to go farm wealth, fame, and by the end of it, you're going to have that grand heathen army and an armada. Oh, you Commodore Bannerlord, you stud. It's going to be a blast. Don't delay. Let's dive into this Nord troop tree, and what you see right here, a menu of meddled maniacs, a buffet of badass, and I'm getting 2 scoops and going back for seconds. Let's start up at the top here with the MVP, the Nord Youngling. How can the recruit be the MVP? He is a recruit with a shield. Absolutely game-changing. And let's take a moment to give a special shout out to those old recruits doing it the old way. Honoring the old gods, right? God. Oh, no. Do take a moment, though, because God knows you won't. You guys all want to talk about your favorite little noble troop or whatever, right? I get the best of everything and mix it all together, and that's what works for me. No shit. But who was there for you when all you had was a Sumter horse and 3 bags of grain, motherfucker? Where do you get off, Bannerlord? All this chit-chat in the comments from the Boklahoma gang, don't I know? You know what you can type? You can type, thank you, recruit. Upvote. Thank you. 20 dinar sign-on bonus. 3 gold a day charging into those forest bandits and seed raiders with a pitchfork. You don't deserve them. Running around up in those northern snow with these shielded recruits, it was like I was in a magical wonderland. They also have an axe with 106 swing speed, and it's really short, which you'll know when you're up close is actually really nice. MVP, we love you. Thank you, recruits. We come down, and immediately, something I love about this tree right away, it's efficient. We'll get to the Sky Gods chosen to be OP, but just know all the way down, this is an amazing archer unit, and you won't be disappointed. But we'll talk about them more down here. But for now, we're going to stick over here with the meaty melee men. And look at this Nord warrior. He's cool. He's all right. This guy's okay, too. This Nord spear warrior, though, one of my favorite tier 3s. It's a spearman, and they're really good at it. What's that polar, Matt? 70. That's all right for a tier 3. And also, look, javelins, 110 pierce. Now, he's only got that 40 throwing. What's it tell you? Wait until you see the whites of their eyes, okay? Then it doesn't matter. You get a whole bunch of these guys and these 110 pierce javelins. And I mean, these guys hurt cavalry. They do very good work. There's actually an argument to be made that this is maybe their prime form, and that moving down here has more liabilities than benefits, but we'll make the arguments when we get there. I love this tier 3 unit. Down here in tier 4, we start getting specialized. Do we want to help with the shield wall? Do we want to be a psychopath? Do we want to look awesome but be a huge liability? And now we're down here at the Bear Nord. He's big, he's burly, he's a beast. That's what he is. And look at this kit we're coming in with. We've got this Berserker Axe, which is actually a hybrid. Can be used one-handed or two-handed. Doesn't use it two-handed maybe as often as you'd like to see, but it could be for the best given we've only got 80 skill and two-handed. They come with a very nice collection of one-handed swords, but swords aren't that good against armor. Well, there's some new skills in town, and this guy's size really makes him good with these swords because you see they have very high damage, 105 swing damage, and he's so tall that sometimes his overhand gets over the top of shields. And so these guys get headshots sometimes where I think other units wouldn't. And also with his stab, the stab reaches from like the second row. It's really incredible. I mean, these guys have no problem killing shit. And they're so cool, you know, let's just go ahead and throw on some really nice throwing weapons and 140 throwing skill. So what's the catch? Well, the catch is he's really big and not very well armored. If you keep him in the shield wall and you look out for him, keep things tight and reform the line from time to time, they'll be okay. Where they can really become kind of a liability is in ship combat, where we're climbing up out of the longboat into the Valandian round ship, and those crossbows are shooting down into my not very good head armor and not very good body armor. And I'm a really big guy, so I'm catching a lot of shit. So his greatest strength, also kind of his greatest liability. The biggest issue for the Berserker is that he's in the same situation the Valandian Vanguard is. The Vanguard is a very solid cavalry that doesn't hold a candle to the Banner Knight. And because you can get an infinite number of Banner Knights very easily, what's the point of the Vanguard? Well, it's there if you need it. And so it is with the Berserker. You use them when you need them. A very good unit in the hands of the player, a great unit, but it's just not a Huskarl. And what do we have here? It's the Skjoldbrestir, or Shield Breaker, if my Google's correct. One look at him and what do you know? You can delete the dating apps, pumpkin. He's all the man you're ever gonna need. What is he? Well, in short, he's everything the Stygian Linebreaker wishes he could be. Rest in peace, Stygian Linebreaker. Listen to me, you little shield wall junkies, running around, grabbing all those Huskarls because you want that big old shield wall, and you need it. I know you need it. All I'm saying to you is make sure you got a couple lines of these fellas in the back. I promise you. I promise you. You will not be disappointed. These guys wreck shop. Look at this 84 speed, 129 damage, 129 length, and let's give them that 140 two-handed skill. Throw in some incredible armor. Keep them nice and tight and protected, and then when they hit the iron wall, you unleash them. These guys are monsters. They are, you turn your shield wall into a ninja blender, bro. Slicing and dicing. Thinking that goddamn Beach Boys. Get around, I get around on my Raven wing axe. You're going to feel the sunshine on your face. Your life's going to get better. Your job's going to get better every time you have these guys on your team. They're just unreal. Okay. So I know you guys take that goddamn shield wall off the table, you little addicts. You got enough shields. Bring in some Skjoldbrestirs, and they're going to do good work for you. They're going to surprise you how well they survive. Oh, Ulfheden, my sweet Ulfheden. First off, I want to say without apology, this is a badass unit, and you need some of these in your army. It comes at a cost, and we'll get to it. But these big-ass pole arms are worth it. And them sticking up out of the back of your Huskarl shield wall, giving me goosebumps just talking about it. The problem is there's a big problem. No shield, horrible armor, but if they're in the square formation or in the back of the shield wall, it's not that bad. And they do very well in land battles. What's the problem? Well, what do we talk about? Sea battles. Nords are always lowest in the water. That's kind of a big negative. These guys, waiting for their turn to get in there and start swinging their shit, and all those crossbows and javelins are flying around, they're landing. They're hitting this guy in the head, and he's gone. It's a long way up north to get these Nord recruits. You sure you want to level them up into the troop that dies the most? For me, the answer is yes, and I'll tell you why. First off, if I'm looking out for them, I keep them in the shield wall, I set up the square, they do okay. On the ship battles, it is what it is, but the truth is, for the most part, I overwhelmingly dominate at sea, and I take very few casualties. There's a point where the sea battles are a little bit more of a fight, but as you get to where you're more and more overwhelming, then, these guys aren't that much of a liability. And I want to tell you something about this 171 two-handed monster, this Atgetter or whatever they call it. This thing drops cavalry. And if you get a captain who buffs these guys up with those pole-on perks, giving out like 70% more damage to mounts, holy shit what these guys do to cavalry. I mean, dude, they were filling tanneries up out there into Gazette territory. Especially you form a nice square or a nice circle and these guys are up in the middle and that cavalry hits the shield wall, you get slowed down, and then here it comes over the top. Red light. These guys are absolute killers. It's just they have horrible armor and their throwing weapon is this throwing knife. I mean, that's awful. I mean, they got 16 head armor, Tail Worlds. Haven't they paid enough? You got to give them this throwing. Can't even give them a couple sets of throwing axes, because then at least they could hang back in the back. A lot of people are going to tell you these guys are just a huge liability and that you should probably just stick with these shield breakers. But when I see these giant act gear pole arms sticking up behind my shield wall, I don't give a damn. The drip is worth the price. That's what I say. These guys are very good at taking down cavalry, and that's what they're there for. You know, you are your brother's keeper. Look out for them. The Sky God's chosen to be OP. We've got the same bow as the Battanian Fiend Champion, but they only have one quiver, so it makes it balanced. Well, they only have one quiver-ish. Stacked bodkin arrows, right? So it's 32. Yes, regular archers have 2 quivers, but it's 24 stack quivers. So when we say the Sky God's chosen gives up a lot to get a shield, well, what's a lot? It's really about 16 arrows. And the shield you're giving that quiver up for takes your breath away. Nordic shield, 620 hit points. Put your archers in shield wall behind your shield wall. And then you'll wait until the enemy's right on you, spread them back out, open fire, and there you go. These guys are absolute killers, but do be aware that cavalry can knock these guys in the dirt. They can start taking casualties quick, so just do be aware where you're placing them. And coming all the way from Warband, without further ado, here he finally is, the Nord Huskarl. Oh my God, look at it. The armor, the gold, the fur. He's leveling my polearm, I'll tell you that. He's a dream. Look at this armor, 51. Look at this heavy fur cape, 19 and 10. What? On top of 52, 8 and 10? He is a tank, folks. He don't give a damn. But he's not just a tank. He's also a killer. First off, this spear, lethal for cavalry. Now, we need a little work on the spear AI because we're not good about getting it out and using it like we should. I'm hoping that's coming. And they'll only get better the better they get with them. You'll see down here we have 200 polearm skill. So they can really use those polearms. Like I said, I hope they'll get better at it in the future. Not only is it a Studley shield with a lot of hit points, but when you pull all those Huskarls together and you look at that decorated Nordic shield wall, take my breath away, da-da-da. Throw them all in a pool and fill it with KY. I'm jumping in, and they just get better here. Look, we've got that rune sword. What did I tell you? You get all upset about them having swords. Look at that swing speed. 103 swing speed. Also a chance for a battle axe. And then every variant has these engraved throwing axes with 93 cut and 190 throwing skill. And when we talk about captain's perks buffing up an ability, let's talk about all the perks that buff up throwing. And when you buff up all that throwing on these guys, they clear decks. You hear me? They clear decks. When you see these guys come together into that beautiful Nordic shield wall, and then you see this bag of goodies behind them, you pull all the Nords together, you get that great heathen army you've been dreaming of. Shield walls, squares, and ships. Oh my. Get yours today. Here's a build I recommend. This is my Boki the Kraken build. And you can see my man over here. What a stud. We got the super manly mascara and beads going. And we're just, look at this bling and these javelins. It's a javelin meta. Let me tell you, with this ship combat, these things worth their weight in gold. And that's what this build's all about. We'll just work our way down here. We'll start up here in one-handed. One thing to remember when it comes to speccing your guy in Bannerlord, that 5 and 5 is something to remember. 5 attribute points along with 5 focus points is going to allow you to get all the way up to, I think it is 260. The point is, it's going to allow you to get everything in this tree except for the last perk. And what you'll find very often is if you get your skill all the way up to here, this last perk really doesn't make that much difference. Now, that's not the case for every tree, but that is the case for some trees. And it also, it comes down to personal preference. But something like leadership, where you're getting a ton of extra party size, well, that's probably pretty worth it. But something like Immortal Charm, plus 5 influence a day, I mean, maybe, maybe not. There's a lot of ways to get influence. You fight a lot of battles, there's policies, there's buildings. Now, I'm sitting here talking to you about, 5 and 5 and how to get the most out of your build, but here we come in with me being a complete hypocrite, because in no way, shape, or form do you need this final talent in javelins, okay? By the time you get up to Impale, which remember, 5 and 5 will get you up here at 250, this is all you need. And you really don't even need this much. You could really put very little in javelins and make them very efficient. But when you get to this point, they are unstoppable. It's just the nature of ship combat in this game, right? Where you're boarding, especially Nord style, where you're just boarding ships. There's just times where the lanes are clogged and guys are just standing around waiting to kind of push into the meat grinder. And if you can just sit there with your javelins, sending them into the enemies, you can open up a flank. It's just so powerful. Plus, dude, I just can't even tell you. I slung one in a ship battle the other day, and it took out this guy, this crossbowman. I mean, it was a once-in-a-lifetime shot, and I was like, oh, great. That's going to be awesome for a video, but of course I wasn't recording. And I just, but just to know that you're capable of that. So for reasonable people trying to get the most out of their build, do not max out throwing. You do not need to at all. You can see these 2 last perks are personal. They don't give you any buffs to anyone but you, and you're already one shot and everything. This is completely ridiculous. This is only for the insane, okay? These are for the Krakens out there who are just cackling while they throw their javelins maniacally. I mean, you're basically wasting 2 attribute points because you're a psycho. But I got to throw those 75-yard touchdowns, baby. I got to throw them out there, and I like to put a little 2019 Jameis Winston on mine. 30 for 30. Sling that motherfucker out there and pray to Jesus to deliver us from these pick sixes. It's all we can do, Bannerlords. And that's how I throw my javelins. I throw them up there, and I let the gods decide their fate. I just get them going. We'll talk more about that when we talk about decking out our ships, but you can see my man here comes ready to play some darts. And this build is so badass. So the 2-hander, nothing but respect, and it's awesome on the ships, but I'm a javelin man, I got to tell you. Coming into that athletics, because you got to have them. You're a Nord, you're fighting on the ship. Right here you can see, though, 5 and 5, and I maxed it out. The only thing I'm not getting, the stun and a little extra hit points. Now, the extra hit points would be epic, but my armor's already pretty awesome. And now, more than ever, you have access to legendary pieces. I think a lot of people will be shocked that I don't take more roguery. I'm beginning to now, and if I was continuing to level up, I would finish this out, just because, the extra battle loot doesn't kill you, and you can always turn it into XP. The early roguery just isn't worth it anymore. First off, Nords have prosperous cities, so workshops are just going to get you up and going right now. I mean, you're going to make so much money off of workshops. If you find the right companion and are able to get enough money to send out a convoy, convoys makes you thousands of gold. And the combination of workshops and convoys, I mean, that will get you snowballing quicker than anything. The other thing is, the big draw for roguery for me prior to War Sales launching was there wasn't a lot of access to legendary items. They didn't occur very often. You didn't find them very much. And so the best way to get a bunch of legendary items was to have high roguery, because the more loot that dropped, the more likely you were to have legendary items proc in the loot, and that's how you got them. Now there's legendaries everywhere. I mean, you got to check every town and sort by name so that you can see what they got. All my people are sporting legendary shit. And it's really kind of nice because, hey, look, it gives you something to spend your gold on and kind of something to farm for. And the best part about it is it allows you to build your companions and deck them out in gear and really kind of individually style them. Got my Valandian crossbowman here. I got my Battanian healer. I got my wife. Look at her. She's peacocking. But this build is just so much fun. And that's what we're talking about down here in leadership. We're trying to get all the way up to this ultimate leader so we can have a massive crew, so that we can have a massive fleet, so that we can just destroy everything. I was going to max this out, but the truth is I'm going to do a playthrough from scratch to show this build off because it's really a lot of fun. So we'll max it out there and I'll show you how it all comes together. But that's the goal. Plus, there's just some really nice leadership perks in here. Like, for example, Veterans Respect. It's nice when you can just recruit them directly into your party. But even without this perk, you can just capture them and hold them prisoner. And then you can get perks like this where like the conformity is increased by your prisoners while you're at sea, right? And so I'm running around to sea all the time and I can recruit dozens of sea raiders in no time. Is it really worth this perk to be able to recruit them right away when I can just hold them as prisoner and recruit them in 20 seconds? I don't know. It's really not that worth it now. Oh, and when it comes to recruiting sea raiders, something to be aware of here. My favorite ones are the tier 2s. Why? Well, let's come over here. Tier 3, Tier 4, what are these guys upgraded to? The Berserker. And what did I tell you about the Berserker? Good unit, not the best. I'd rather have the Huskarl. But what did I tell you that was a great basic infantry unit? Remember this Skullbrastier we talked about? The Death Machine? Well, look here. These Tier 2 Sea Raiders, if you have the Veterans Respect perk, can be upgraded into Nord Axe Warriors. And my suggestion to you is go this way, because if you go this way, you turn them into a Berserker. But if you go down the Nord Axe Warrior path, then you have the opportunity to turn them into the bad boy. So Veterans Respect, great perk to have for converting those Sea Raiders over into those bad boys you want. And then we're going to come all the way up here and get a bunch more guys to fill up another badass longboat. Why do I have this engineering? Well, in the state of the game right now, it's easier to take a castle than defend one, which is stupid. I'm sure it'll get fixed, but as it is right now, fire pots are probably one of the most powerful things in the game. So get your own engineer, be your own engineer. I'm just going to do it myself because I really don't need the points anywhere else, but I probably would just put them in roguery because the extra loot at this point, I'm going to have so much money, I can just turn it into experience. And I'm getting to that point where I'm going to take some really big fiefs and I'm going to want to, replace the garrisons. And it's just going to be a lot of leveling up, and just being able to get a whole bunch of loot and turn it into experience with my steward is a fantastic way to just really get things rolling. And that's where we're at. We're getting to that snowball stage, and this is that snowball build, and it's about to pay off. And like I said, I'll do a playthrough where I show it all coming together. So with the addition of War Sails, we also have these 3 new skills coming in: Mariner, Bosun, and Shipmaster. Now, you can put 5 focus points in them, but where's the attribute points? Well, the attribute points are determined by a combination of these attribute points up here. For Mariner, it's Endurance, so I would have 5, and Cunning. You're very likely going to have enough attribute points because you're pulling from 2, and you always have at least 2. So as long as the other one has at least 5, you're probably good. The only question is then, do you want to spend the 5 focus points to get the bonuses from these perks? So the Mariner tree, I think what this tree was supposed to be for was buffing up the Nords who were going to be lightly armored. And then when you pulled them on the sea and gave them things like 50% armor pen to all their crew, what it is now is you're giving insane buffs to the most elite infantry and archers in the game. And a lot of these need to get toned down. Now, most of them are fine and they're not game breaking, but I mean, just things like with the 50% armor pen. I mean, just for a personal sense, I mean, it makes swords incredible, but for my whole crew, I mean, maybe 10%, 5%. And this is my kind of concern with talent trees in general across all genres and all games. It's just this power creep that happens as the game develops, where now we've got 30% and 10% and 15% additions to where now I don't have Nords anymore. I just have Terminators. These bonuses are out of control. I'm a big fan of talents like Master Angler here, where it gives me more fish. But when we start coming in here and giving everyone 50% armor pen on their melee weapons, it's like, what are we doing? It's just too much. It's a lot of fun, and it's fun to level, but just fighting sea battles, you'll level it up. But some of these bonuses are just crazy. If you're going to be fighting on the sea consistently, you want these Mariner buffs because they are very strong. And of the 3 skills, this is the one I suggest you get almost in every build. because if you're going to fight on the sea at all, these are crazy buffs, and the personal buffs and the army buffs are very powerful. The bosun tree, this is all about repairing and supplying ships, so you'll see reduction to ship repair cost, you'll see extra ammo, less wages, things like that. But here at the end of the tree, these last four are kind of great. So these two at the top both give you an extra ship in battle. When you first start fighting on the sea with your party, you'll have the ability to command up to 3 ships. If you want to command more ships than that, you're going to have to use those perks. This limit only applies in battles your party is fighting. If you're in an army and you get in a fight with another army on the sea or river or wherever, on the water, then you're going to have the ability to command up to 8 ships. Now, here's the thing about sea battles, the way they are right now. I'm sure this will change, but as they are right now, there's no reinforcements. So this is a 1700 battle on 1700 battle that's going to really be determined by the 800 troops that we got out here. And this is where the Nords become insanely powerful. Because if you grab those extra ships and you build a party size up that, you know, you can fill them. That's the other thing, right? You can have 5 ships, but do you have enough guys to go in them? We'll get to that when we talk about the ships. But the point I'm making is you can have 5 of your own personal ships, and then you can have your own parties, and you can buy ships for them. And so your clan could be 600 to 700, 800 strong and have 8 massive ships, and you could just run around, and that's what this build's about. I'll do the playthrough to show it off. It's incredible, but I got to get the guide out. I got to quit playing. I got to quit playing Bannerlord and get a guide out. Oh, no. Put your hand on the screen and pray for me, Bannerlords, because this Bannerlord addiction is in full swing, and it is ugly. If you want to level your bosun skill up quickly, just grab you a bunch of ships, find you a storm, run out to it, go all Lieutenant Dan, and then before they sink, because they will, just keep an eye on the damage, because I've got let it get carried away if I'm watching a football game on the other monitor or something. Just running around in that storm got us 3 points. 242 to 245, and then we come up, repair ships. What's that get us up to? 246. So these last few points take a bit, but that's how you level up your bosun skill. You can tell I made this guide here at the beginning of War Sales because Shipmaster is just so nerfed. They buffed its learning rate now, so in my playthrough it'll be a lot better, but I actually think they need to buff it some more. It just takes entirely too long to level this up. I mean, look here, 246, 232. I mean, all these are over 200, and my Shipmaster's at 77. And even since the new buffs, I mean, it's going up, but it ain't going up that much. I will say, this first perk right here, Master Angler, one of my favorite perks in the game. Doesn't do anything to affect balance, just an immersive talent that makes sailing a lot less tedious, and fantastic. I just love always having a bunch of fish. It's immersive, it's fun. It's just, I love this talent. I really, really enjoy this talent, and these are my favorite types of talents. Really like the idea of these new skills, and for the most part, I'm a big fan of them, but this Mariner tree's got to get looked at. I know we're covering a lot, but you're my Bannerlords, which means I got to bring you up right. So let's talk ships. Now, when it comes to ships in a Nord campaign, let me tell you about a couple, 3 things. Number 1, what am I calling you to in this channel? I'm calling you to immersive, thematic playthroughs. And we're talking about the Nords here, which means what? We're talking about long ships. I see a lot of people out there talking about how they ditch the long ships and grab this Imperial Ballista and I run around and then I would just kite the... You make me fucking sick. You hear me? Locate, close with, and destroy. That's the Nord way. And that's what these longboats are about. Give a fuck about some ballista and some archers shooting from a perch. We run one play in this faction, and it's the fullback dive. On one, ready, break. As a matter of fact, if you're a person that doesn't use longboats in your Nord playthrough, you take your sub and shove it up your ass and get the hell out of my channel. You got too much of your mother in you to be in the Boklahoma gang. I can't even, it just ruins my whole day when I think about it, okay? Nords use longboats, period. End of story. That's it. Now we've got that covered. When it comes to getting a longboat, I don't want you getting ripped off. So let's come down here to Boklahoma's boat Bonanza, and I'll walk you through all this. When we're talking about longboats, really just comes down to size. Okay, and the smallest one here, the starter longboat, is this little Nar. It's got that nice thick girth you like, and it's even got a little upgrade. You see those little arrows and bolts there, and you can see right here, it'll tell you where it's silver. These are the different upgrades you can put on your ships, from putting shields on the side of it. Here's like different things you can put on the deck. You can make it carry more stuff, or in this case, you can give it javelins and arrow replenishment. You can even upgrade the sails. So on this ship right here, you can see you've got the silver arrow and javelin bins, +1 quiver and an extra stack of throwing weapons, whichever one you have. If you bought this ship, you could upgrade this to the gold version, which gives you +2. Because when you come over to my ships here, you can see we got all the gold upgrades. The most important upgrade by far is the shields on the side of the ship, because it just looks amazing. Yeah, it helps block some stuff, and they're really good to have. They really are, but the most important part is the drip, by far, because it's just epic. And you can see we got the awesome sails, and I got huge stacks. I got the level 3 or +2 quivers and bolts here. So this is fully upgraded, and then you come back down to this point, it's a little plain. But you know, it starts here, and you build it. That's what we're doing. We're building a dream. This is where this thing will get you in trouble, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to start a Nord playthrough, and right when you spawn in, we go to the city, there's a tournament. We play the tournament, we happen to win it, or you just save scum it over and over until you win it, and now you win the horse. You got the horse, you don't need the horse. You sell the horse. Now you're sitting on a fat stack, you come into the boatyard, and you're like, I could afford that, and then me and my 18 buddies could run around and get that pirate dream started. The problem is 18 fellas on the seas of Calradia. That's a rough life. Okay, that's got a real short shelf life on it. You're gonna need a lot more than 18. Now, targets of opportunity, and if you run around and you find 2 ships that are fighting, and then you kind of come in for the cleanup, I'm not saying it can't be done, but the reality is this is more of a support ship, and I would not start out here. If I was you, I would just start out, and I would just start farming Sea Raiders and whatever, and I'd level my little warband until I could get myself into one of these light longships. Okay, this is where you can really start having fun. And look here, this one's got some nice upgrades on it already. We got the bronze shield, and we've got the gold upgrades on the quivers and thrown weapon stacks. Isn't that nice? +2. I mean, this bad boy's ready for war. The white hair here, not really a fan of the name. That's going to get changed, but the rest of it's looking good. And look at her. Look at her in that light. I could see you having a lot of fun in here, cowboy. I think that's what's going to happen. But look here. You need 32 guys. A minimum of 8, but it can take up to 32. Only cost about 15 grand. That's a pretty good deal with these upgrades. I think that's a steal. What am I telling you? When you start out, just get yourself to 32 guys, level them up as best you can, and then you farm up until you can afford one of these. You hop in and we go Viking. And you'll see if you're out here sailing on the seas of Calradia that even starting with 32 isn't that much. I mean, some of these Sea Raider parties will mess you up. You go into 32 into 65, you're probably going to get messed up. But if you have them leveled up decently, and as you start leveling up more and you start really bringing in those Mariner buffs and other things, you'll very quickly get to a point where you can take down these Sea Raider groups of 46 with your 32. Now you can recruit the Sea Raiders as replacements. That's one thing you can do, right? And you're leveling up your crew, and you're just going to make so much money between the ships and the extra loot that you get. And then you just take it right back up to port. You recruit some more guys, and you just get to going. And so, my opinion, the light longship is the perfect starter ship for that special Viking who's really looking to just go out there and meet their destiny. And then let's say you get to where you have a party size of like 50 guys, right? Well, you can put 32 of them in here, and then you can come buy one of these little bad boys and put the other 18 in here, and then you can bring both of those ships to battle. Or if you have 50 to 54 guys, instead of putting them on 2 ships, you could just upgrade to the longship. And this is where we really get to where we're having fun and kicking ass, is these boys right here. What are the advantages to longships? Well, the first thing is they have a shallow draft. And you can read right there, it'll tell you. A shallow draft means it's faster in coastal waters and rivers, and it's slower in deep water. And then, of course, ships with deep drafts, the opposite is true. If we zoom out on the map here, you can see, you see this light blue water around the coast here? That's coastal water. And then as you go up the rivers and stuff, it'll tell you shallow draft. See that plus 0.23? But now if I sail out here to the deep ocean where it's dark blue, you'll see that shallow draft becomes a debuff. We come back into the coastal water and watch. Now shallow draft's a positive, plus look at that 0.34 culture. Okay, that's the thing about the longboats, is they play perfectly into the Nordic culture. Not only do you get an increase from being on a longship, but your cultural bonus also applies, which means when you're chasing enemies, whether they be convoy ships or sea raiders or everything, don't chase ships out into the middle, right? You want to kind of get around and you want to push them towards the coast, right? Because it takes a while to catch them out here, but watch how fast I close with them once I get into coastal water. I mean, they just cannot run from me. So that's the deal with draft. On top of that, another perk to longboats is that they have all of their crew out here on the deck ready to fight. I want to come into the Valandian shipyard here to really show you the difference between longboats and standard ships. So we start down here with the Western Galley, and it's got a crew of 32. Then you move up to the trade cog, and you'll find a lot of these in trade convoys. And it only has a crew of 20, but then you'll also see this reserve capacity. Some ships have reserves, and those reserve units will spawn on those ships as the units that are on the deck die. So all the units you see on the deck may or may not be all the units that are going to be on that ship, especially when you get into something like the round ship here. Look at that. It only has 66 guys on the deck, but it has 42 in reserve. That sounds amazing, but there's a lot of ifs here, right? What quality of troops are they, and are they even Mariner troops? Now, when you get in massive battles, and I'll show you one here in the sea battle, like say it's 1,700 troops or something, in that case then, when you're fighting army on army, it will be loaded with high-tier Valandian troops. They get bloody quick, and you'll win, but you are going to take some losses, and these guys will just keep pouring out. And the real thing here is that the longboats will come alongside them, and they're just so much lower in the water. I mean, the advantage of that shallow draft is that they're faster, but they are a lot lower in the water. So these guys are kind of shooting down, and you are kind of fighting uphill. This 66 plus 42 on these round ships, if you send a Nord longboat with 54 guys, because you look, hey, that doesn't look too bad, but there's more coming. That's what I'm saying. So be careful with these round ships, especially if you are in a massive army on army battle, because sometimes these guys are just chock full of armored units, and it can really, I mean, it could be a hell of a brawl getting through one of these things, much less 8 of them. But I've been in battles where there's 4 or 5 of them, and they're all full of Valandian sergeants and shit, and it gets messy quick. I'll just say it that way. But that's what this number is over here. This reserve capacity is its troops in reserve on these ships that can have reserve. And some of them, like the Imperial ones, can really have a lot in reserve. But if you come over to the Nord ships here, you'll see it doesn't have that now. There ain't no reserve. We're all out here. And this is the advantage. See, you pull up alongside one of these round ships, and they got 66 guys on the deck, and they got crossbow guys shooting down, and that's all true, and it's cool. However, you know, you come over to your ship here, I got 106 guys all slinging their throwables, shooting their bow and arrows, and now they're boarding. And boy, let me tell you though, it gets both sides. It gets to be awesome. That's what it is. It's just awesome. I cannot believe what a home run War Sales is, and I'm having so much fun. But anyway, that's the advantages of the longship. So that's something to be aware of if you send a longship at one of those big round ships or one of those big Empire ships. It doesn't look so bad. You're like, well, I don't look too many guys up there, but there could be a lot of guys in reserve. And that's why I'm such a big fan of these big boys here, these big Drakkar. These are the longship in-game. And just look at that. Just look at that bad boy. And this is my personal Kraken. Isn't she beautiful? Oh, God. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And it's just so much fun. What's so fun about the longships is you just absolutely overwhelm your opponents with throwables and Huskarls, and it's just nothing like it. Do be aware when you, with these upgrades, you also get these figureheads. You unlock them just by fighting enemy lords, I guess, and they just have a chance to unlock. I mean, it's been really random for me. You take that awesome Nord roster, buff it up, and stuff it on these big bad boys, and I mean, there's just nothing that beats it. You're just going to board and take over whatever's next to you, and it's just so much fun. People are like, all you do is board over and over, and it's like, yep, that's what I'm doing. It's not good. It's not good, but just one look at this ship makes me want to do it again. Until you really build your party size up and get your fleet built up, most sea battles are going to start with somewhere between 1 and 3 ships. And then all you have to do is highlight the ship right here. Ship number 2 goes there. Ship number 3 goes here. I'm using the RTS camera mod. So something I could do is I can just let go of the wheel and have my helmsman come. There's a helmsman mod, but if you run the RTS camera mod, you don't need it. And then I'll tell my ship to go right there. And now look, we're rolling out together. This is my own personal fleet, dude. How badass is this? And you can see, you want to see what makes longboats so awesome? Take a look, handsome. Look at all these studs, huh? These guys kick so much ass, and there's the refills if you need them. And we're going to, I'm going to show you here, about to see a man in his prime slinging death. Get ready for it. All the way out there. I give a fuck. Watch. It goes all the way out there. Wham! You wait till I level it up. I'm going to show you guys something. A highlight reel that's going to shake the heavens. Here it comes. So we're coming in just like this. And now we just get to slinging it. Oh, there we go. Hey, buddy, with the driving, you kind of drove right past them, big guy. It's okay. We'll work on it. But this is what I'm talking about. See, all these 106 dudes all slinging their shit and lined up. Now, this is just some Sea Raiders. This isn't really a great example, but this is what I'm talking about. We're tilting the boat because of all these guys and their big balls. That's what it is. It's you guys and your big hairy nuts, you kings. Good job. This is how 95% of sea battles go. You charge at the enemy, you kill them, and you take their shit. It's how we make our fathers proud. However, every once in a while, you will get these epic sea battles. I'll just walk you through one here, just so, because if you're new to War Sales, it may feel like it's a little intimidating. All right, the Baroness here, she's sick of my shit, raiding all their lands and stuff. I'm kind of sick of her interrupting my raiding party, so we're going to have this out. And now what we want to do is we want to line up our navy with the enemy navy for the engagement. Me and the Boklahoma gang are going right up the middle at their big guy. And then what I'll do is number 2 here, he'll come take this other round ship. Number 3 here will take the one on my left. And then number 4 here will get in the mix. And then what we'll do with some of these small guys is we're going to put them out here on the flank. And then I just give them that engage move command, and here we go. We're all moving out. You can't spend $25 better than this. Look at this badass battle. We're going right at these Valandian scum, and we're going to teach them, don't you ever, ever come off those horses and out in the water, unless you know how to ride seahorses. Now, if you're new or you're not completely sober, I suggest you pause the game at this point and just set it all up the way you want it. And you can always check them too. So if I hit 2's there, 3's there, 4's there, 5's there, 6 there, 7 there, 8 there. And now you can just unpause it. And now it's time to have fun. Oh, and here come the fireworks. They like to shoot these before they lose. You're supposed to be all the way over there on that one, and they are taking their sweet time. Boy, they are getting hit, though. What are they down to? Yeah, they're taking some casualties, but it's fine. Okay, you know what? We're just going to improvise here. That's what we got to do. And you can see everybody's going in. Look how awesome this is, huh? Oh, come on. Are you crazy? Now we're going in on this big boy right here. This is where that javelin build's going to come in crazy, because this is what I'm telling you. Look, we are just slinging them in here. Oh, shit. Sorry, fella. But you can just keep throwing them. And then you can always just come in here with your one-hander. Now, I do have the sword here because the Nords have some amazing swords. And this is important here. Keep this guy down. And also important to notice, you can use this against them. See? Was that my guys? No, that's not. It's fine. So, but that's the thing with longboats. You're kind of fighting uphill at first, but all the throwables and badass troops make it really not that bad. I mean, just look at this, guys. Look at the sails and the ropes and the lighting and the water and the troops. Are you kidding me? Oh, the future of Bannerlord is so bright. And what is this in the future? I mean, this is going to be ships of the line. I mean, can you imagine like a pike shot and ships of the line and muskets? And dude, it's the future's bright, Bannerlords. That's what I'm telling you. No matter how much fun you're having here on the water, at some point you are going to have to fight on land. And it's really not a problem because, to be honest, the Nords are really good at it. You do have to be careful because cavalry is really good, and not having any kind of does suck at times. But if you pick the right terrain and you pick the right tactics, you can have a lot of success with these guys, and these field battles can be a lot of fun with the Nords. Now, this is kind of a funny case because both the Jawwall and the LF Theroy or whatever are mercenaries for us. So in this case, I actually have a ton of cavalry that I usually don't, like 100. Now, what do I always tell you about Bannerlord tactics? You can make them as complicated as you need to have fun for you. Okay, if you need to split them up into 8 different groups and zigzag them and flank and all this shit, you can do it. You don't need to do that to beat the Bannerlord AI, but whatever's fun for you. Okay, you can F1, F3. But if you're going to get the most out of your troops, you're going to have to probably do a little micro. And that's the same thing for these archers, right? They don't have but 32 shots. So we want to make them count. We're going to leave them right here in line formation. And look, this is the nice thing, though. They give up that quiver, but they get one of the best shields in the game. And they can just sit here, shielded up, waiting for the right moment to unleash the pain. And that's what you want to do with them. And then, of course, look at this Nordic shield wall. You don't see it from the front. This is when it looks good. Look at that. You hear those arrows clanging off the metal shields? Look at them. So badass. And what are those arrows doing? Nothing. Make sure your infantry are holding fire. Make sure your archers are holding fire. We don't want to be throwing our powerful throwables at horse archers that are running around doing fuck all 300 yards away. Okay, what are they doing? They're shooting arrows into our shields. That ain't that bad. This time we're going to screw these horse archers up a little bit. I'm going to bring the cavalry out front here, and I'm going to unleash some volleys. Here we go. Here they come. Here comes the counter volleys. You can even throw a few javelins in there if you want. That can be a good time. Just I like to sling it through in there. Just ready to go, big guy. You usually won't have the cav and the horse archers, but it's kind of fun when you do. And you know, you go to war with the army you have. So now here comes the full army. What do we need to do? Well, let's space our infantry out just a little bit because in shield wall formation, they're not so good about throwing their throwables. And now we want, let's get them lined up a little better here too. There we go. Now we could have our archers start firing, but why? Let's let the infantry throw all their throwables right there. The best thing to do is save my archers probably for their horse archers. I'm going to go ahead and send my cavalry in because I just got so much of that shit. And then just send in your infantry. Then here comes their cavalry. Now that everything, we got this big pile of shit and all this cavalry everywhere. Now I'm going to have my archers start opening fire. But listen to me. As soon as you break their infantry like that, like you can see, we pretty much got them wrapped up. Call your boys back. Reform the line. This is how you're going to have the most success as the Nord. Keep reforming the line and keep having them crash into your shield wall. It's not to say that you can't play more offensive, but when you're fighting these horse archer armies, if your troops are running out there as individuals running around, they're a lot more susceptible to things like horse archer fire and cavalry lances. Whereas together, they're a damn near invincible wall of steel. Because you can see back there in the back, you see all those javelin men throwing javelins. You can see all those fiends and archers shooting at your guys. But they're just firing into a bunch of shields, and it really keeps your casualties down, and it really keeps the casualties on your two-handed guys down. I really try to save my javelins for these big, heavy targets like those Sturgian Drazinic champions or stuff. Reform the line. Do not go storming out there. Reform the line. Make them come to you. See how they get all spread out like this? Got idiots running all over these woods. They'll get crazy spread out and they become way less effective and they die a lot more that way. Okay, archers, hold fire. This is just fodder coming in now, I think. So here in line formation, you can see this is probably the best one to have them throw their throwables. Actually, the best one for throwables is to really put them in a loose formation, but that really spreads them out. A nice compromise is line formation here. It spreads them out enough to get their throwables going, but not so much that they don't work together. And then if you're under a lot of arrow fire or anything, just bring them in under that shield wall. And you can put your archers in shield wall too. Shield wall and shield wall. And then look, you can just have your shield wall advance. And then you can have this one follow you. And then you just move the blender forward. Or what you can do is you can spread the archers out and have them open fire and charge. And then they'll just kind of stay behind you, shooting death out from behind your shield wall. But see, if you advance them in shield wall, see how they all stay together across the battlefield? At least a lot better than if you spread them out and charge them. All you do is you put them in shield wall, you face them in the right direction, and then you give them the move command right here, F1, and then you have them engage, the engage command, and then they will stay in shield wall formation as they advance towards the enemy. They will just move across the battlefield like a shredder. And then what I do is I put my archers on follow, and I just stay right behind the line. So the archers are just constantly being pulled up with me. And then I just sit back here in the back and I throw my javelins at high value targets, lords, whatever. And then when you hit a big wad of infantry like this, you just charge them in and they'll just start chopping them up. And in this case, I'm just gonna let them keep going. Everybody just charge, we win. But that's the idea. Just form up a shield wall or a square. I'm real partial to the square. And then you can just sit back here and fire death with your javelins here. And that's all there is to it, fellas. Just let the enemy crash into your boys. They'll take care of business from there. Going all the way back to the Huskarls and Warband, the Nords have always held a special place in the heart of the Mountain Blade community. And I think Tailworlds has done a spectacular job bringing them into Bannerlord. When you fire up a Nord campaign, you are in for a powerful, dynamic, and most importantly, immersive Bannerlord experience. So, may the wind fill your sails and the loot fill your ships, Bannerlords. Have fun. Boklahoma out.